I'd like to call the meeting of the Harvard Administration Committee meeting to order, Wednesday, May 20th, 2026, 6:30 p.m. We have present Alderman Albertson, Alderman Lavallee, and myself, Alderwoman Haderlein. So we have a quorum. And we might have, okay, and there is Alderman Kriete squeaking in before we get to item number 3. So we do not have a need for a committee member to attend the meeting electronically. Item number 4 on the agenda is public comment. Is anybody here tonight wishing to address the committee on an item that's not otherwise on the agenda? Okay, I guess not, so no public comment. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of March 7th, 2026? Did everybody have a chance to review those? And they look okay?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, John.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 4 in favor. Item number 6 is a discussion action item. This is a request from Peggy Jenkins to remove resident parking only restriction at 102 West Blackman Street. Okay, thank you, Peggy.
Thank you. I have a resident sign in front of my home that says resident parking only. That's terrific. At the time, I had asked them to put the sign there. DeCranes would park all their cars there, which means nobody could park there except DeCranes, because that's what they had. And the reason I had requested it was because my mother was in her 80s, and it was a long ways for her to walk from the 200 block to the 100 block carrying laundry and groceries. So since then, my mother has passed, and I feel that the sign doesn't really need to be there anymore. My neighbors are not happy because when I have extra people there, they park in front of course, the neighbor's house, and then they can't have any of their own personal space. So at this time, I would just like to have that sign removed.
So is this only applicable to right in front of the house? It's not that,
No, it's not the
block?
It's not the whole street, no.
The whole street, though, the whole street west of the first street is no parking.
Correct.
So,
No,
No,
you can park there, it's resident parking only, so the ordinance would have to be changed.
I think the signs say no parking.
If you're going eastbound or westbound, I believe that there's no parking sign right next to the auto place.
right behind the police department, on that part of West Blackman, all the way to Route 14, you can park.
Parking on one side.
Right,
Yes, you can
on
park
one side, except when you get to the house. And then it says resident parking only.
So there's no
Okay, so
parking sign there.
It's no parking going westbound, just westbound.
On the north side of the
Right.
street. What if you go on the
That's what I mean.
eastbound? Yeah.
Yes, and it's resident
But-
parking only going eastbound.
Okay, but I guess, shouldn't
Resident
the no
sign is-
parking sign say no parking this side or something like that? Because,
It doesn't say that.
no, I know it doesn't, it says no parking.
No parking this side.
But that's on the north side.
Right. The sign that she's talking about is
Is
this
that one,
sign
yeah.
that says resident only.
But in order to remove
And
the
then
sign,
there's a
we
no
also have to
parking
change the
sign.
ordinance.
Oops.
Across the street, there's a no parking sign.
So here's her no resident sign. This is her house.
Yep.
And then there's another no parking sign right there.
Yep.
On this telephone pole that you can't see.
But so is that what the ordinance is right now, is that it's no parking on the north side, resident only on the south side?
It actually says,
Okay.
is that already in the packet?
No, it's not in the packet.
I think it's resident only just in front of her house. I think the rest of it is,
See what the
Whoever wants.
ordinance actually says. 15?
when was that ordinance passed, do you remember?
Well, let's see, my mother passed in 2005, so it would be before that.
Yeah.
West Blackman Street from Division Street to First Street. For those who reside in particular blocks involved, there shall be no parking on West Blackman from Division to First Street. Residents only, and that's not applicable. So this is the
So it
applicable.
sounds like neither side. No parking on Blackman, on West Blackman, period.
Yeah, it doesn't
It
tell
doesn't,
you
Except for
differently.
those who reside in the particular blocks
Oh.
involved.
So in effect, resident.
Okay.
Resident only.
gotcha, okay. But that would be both sides.
Yes.
But the other side's
the
marked no
side-
parking.
The other side's parking,
It's
no
probably
parking.
in a different
So
section.
if we go
Oh.
to no parking,
Okay.
which is, let's find where that is. Stop sign speed. Our permit only, lots, 2 hours, parking residence, parking prohibitions, here we go. So West Blackman, south side of West Blackman Street from Division west for a distance of 80 feet.
Okay, and then also north side from first to second. Okay. It's very
So
confusing.
you would just have to change the resident parking only party ordinance if you were going to remove the sign.
Yes, so the applicable is 15.062, right? 15.06. The second two, yeah, they should be numbered differently.
Yeah.
0.062, 0.062,
And there's another one,
0.06.
there's another one too.
So .062, except for those who reside in particular blocks involved, there shall be no parking on and this, you
Right.
want to strike this.
So the second 1506
Yes.
too.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
is there any concerns about the business there taking up the parking again afterwards?
Well, for all these years, they've never parked there, so
Yeah.
I'm under the impression they probably would not. But they would have to move it after dark anyway, right?
Yes, well, before 2 a.m.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But their business
Or-
closes like 4:30, 5
Before
o'clock,
3
so
a.m.
everything would be
Yeah.
moved by then.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's been quite a while and they haven't. been- So what's our process then for changing this?
You would make a motion to send it to city council,
Okay.
request we could put it on the city council
Okay.
agenda to request the ordinance changed based on Ms.
Okay.
Jenkins' request.
Okay,
Um,
so it would be making a motion to
Correct.
send to the council to amend 1506, second
Second
two.
At least we know which, yeah.
Right.
To remove the resident-only language for Blackman. South-
Resident-only parking
Resident-only
restriction.
parking restriction for
Would
Blackman.
we need to send letters out to the other people that this affects?
We could.
We could, but once the sign's removed, then,
We could send letters just to make them aware within that block.
The thing of it is that sign only applies to my house,
right.
so why would you even need to tell the neighbors?
That's the
Well,
only
you
place.
could.
The
I
sign
mean-
applies to the whole, or the
Yeah,
the
the
ordinance
restriction
applies-
applies to the whole block. The
Yeah.
sign's in front of your house.
Right.
so-
Oh, really?
yeah.
Right.
Yep,
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
Yeah, because the way it's written, it's for the whole block, from Division to First Street.
So that means none of my neighbors legally should have been parking there?
Well, not,
No, your neighbors.
only the
couldn't.
residents.
Only the
Only
residents.
residents were legally allowed to park.
Their family couldn't.
Yeah,
If they don't
okay.
live there.
Visitors would not be.
Visitors, yes.
So all those cars are illegally parked, I get it.
But they won't be anymore.
No, I hope not.
Okay, so somebody make that motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to update ordinance 15.06 2, the second one specifically, to strike the line removing the resident-only parking restriction to Blackman Street.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion by Albertson, second by Kriete. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. That'll go to the city council next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much for your time.
Oh, thank you.
Have a good night.
Oh, yes. It's getting shorter by the minute.
Okay. Next item, item number 7, discussion, action on the Harvard Fire Protection District intergovernmental agreement for plan review, inspection process, and code enforcement of fire safety codes and regulations. We have our fire chief here, so,
I'm gonna sit so I can take notes.
okay, that sounds good.
Okay, this is back on the agenda. I believe we started this last fall, correct? Went through the review process with the fire department attorneys as well as our attorney, and then we had a lag in between there while we were hiring the new building and planning director. Since that time, we've revisited this. This has been reviewed by building and planning department. Everything looks great to them. Everything looks good on our end with the red. Know that you've reviewed it, and I know it's in the fire department attorney's hands. I'm not sure the status there. I can say that there have been 3 now. We've had 3 as of recently. Joint efforts between the fire department and the city to do some inspections. And I think actually 4, there was a minor plan review that you did for us. All of these cooperative efforts were successful, and I feel like we worked very well together. And, you know, I think that this IGA is a great idea moving forward. We did just sign an agreement with HLR to do all of our other plan reviews and inspections. That agreement does not include life safety, so this would be strictly just the life safety plan review and inspections. And if we want to go over the changes in red and discuss them to see where you're at with those, I think that would be a good idea.
Okay.
These are changes that we discussed previously, but then I think there was a couple extra things that we wanted to run by our attorneys that we need to revisit as well.
Okay.
Okay, so, just so we're all on the same page, life safety in the plan review is fire alarms, sprinkler systems. You know, we look at electrical, but it's to make sure that the smoke detectors are hardwired, those types of things. Overall, electrical plan will still be done by HLR. Just going through a couple of concerns we had, item 1 or paragraph 1, in regards to, the city reserves the right to resolve a dispute as it deems best, and the sole discretion shall notify the district in writing of its decision. When it comes to that, I feel like that should be a district decision. If there's a discrepancy, and what it would do is a couple things. One, it keeps consistency in the district's hands. We're going to be consistent about what we're asking to do. We're going to approve the same building plans and building codes that the city does, life safety codes. The concern comes in when there's a business that wants a variance. I feel like the district should be allowed to take that variance into consideration and make that decision. Meaning, we have, as an example, it's 5,000 square feet for a sprinkler system. A business comes in and says, you know, what we're doing, we don't feel that we need a full-blown sprinkler system. We're looking for a variance to reduce that, to modify the system, because maybe it's, I'll give you an example, ag is a little different, but somebody's got a product that could be very detrimental to their business if it got wet. The sprinkler heads fail, and they want a variance to that. We felt that would be something, that would be something that we would be able to work with the business, apply that variance, and if once we apply that variance, then bring that to the city and say, hey, with this business in this instance, and we work with the building department, we're going to provide a variance to the code for these reasons. I don't, again, see disputes with that, because they would be bringing that back to the building department as well. And it would keep one less thing off of your guys' plate in terms of having to provide. And we'll provide the language and all that with our attorney. That wouldn't be a cost that would be put on the city to do that.
So as is applicable to life safety
Yes.
inspections or life safety
Life safety.
decisions only?
Yeah, plan review inspections.
Does that make sense to folks? You
Well,
comfortable
yeah, it makes
with
sense
that?
to me, just because I'm assuming they're not gonna have, let's say, skin in the game, right? And, somebody on, not saying it would happen, but, somebody in the city knows somebody who's, whatever, blah, 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 where
Yeah.
it shouldn't happen on that side. It
Right.
shouldn't.
Right, yeah, and life safety, and as long as whatever the exception is in writing, yeah.
Yeah, if we
So
made
we
any kind of
document it,
variance
yeah.
to any of the set established codes, the city would be notified of that immediately.
Great.
So
So has your attorney already revised this language?
he's
Is he
yeah,
in
and he
process?
sent a response to your attorney.
He did, okay.
I don't think your attorney's had the opportunity to go back through it.
Probably not. It was
so-
the 19th? Yesterday, okay, so
Yeah.
we haven't heard back from TJ
How
yet.
does that work with the UDO and planning and zoning when requesting a variance? What's the process?
I mean, planning and zoning wouldn't have any say over fire safety, would they? Because we'd still have to have,
Yeah, that's building code.
I would have to ask legal counsel on that because our UDO adopts the fire code,
Right.
but it doesn't spell anything out. It just
doesn't at
strictly
all.
adopts that code. So then we would have to refer to that code and I would have to be consulted on that process. I don't know the answer to that.
right? Because in the situation where someone wants an exemption for parking spaces, they'd still go to planning and zoning.
Correct.
But if they want an exemption for life safety, they would have to go the other route. They'd have to be two separate meetings.
That's a good question. We should find out the answer to that.
So, yeah, because I feel like the fire district should have some say into the variance for life safety.
Yeah.
But I also feel like city council should also have some say in that also.
I mean, that's where I was wondering about it too, is if whatever the fire department decides, would it need to go through and still get a city council approval to say, we're aligned with your decision on this? Or would we say, no, this is absolutely bonkers, we don't agree?
Yeah, so if I understand, Chief, what you're asking is if that very scenario happens, they're the default. In other words,
Correct.
the city could not override their decision.
I mean, I don't foresee a situation where we would want to.
I shouldn't
I
think so, but,
I would-
you know.
I would say that typically when somebody's coming to you for a variance for a life safety code, they want to reduce the
Yes,
coverage.
yes.
They never want to come to you and say, hey, I'd rather do a lot more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They never want to spend more money.
Right, and
Right.
that's where, and Deb can attest to this, and this is nothing against the current administration because you guys weren't here, but there's certain buildings in town that we've been into recently that were given some variances that shouldn't have been. And that would be our concern,
Yeah.
that's why we want that skin in that game, and we want to say, no. When it comes to life safety, it's, 5,000 square feet is what you're going to get. So if you want to build it 49.99, that's fine, it's under 5,000 square feet, but it's when they want to reduce the coverage, because that's when they're going to come, and we feel like we have the most skin in the game for that, and the most knowledgeable for that should come to the district.
So the thing I'm wondering about is in those situations where exemptions are made and something does happen and it turns out to be, it was a bad call, would the fire department be the one that's legally on the hook for that rather than the city because it was the fire department's
Say that again,
choice?
I'm sorry.
In a situation where something does happen and one of those exemptions was made and they go and sue us all, would it be the fire department that's legally on the hook for
Absolutely,
that?
because we signed off on it.
You're right.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
We had a-
And that's where I would say, if the city, and the way it's written now, and we had a dispute, and the city says, no, we're gonna allow it, it's 7,500 square foot building, but what they're doing, we're gonna allow it to happen. They don't have to sprinkle it. We're gonna say, okay, here's a letter that says, we disagree, we're gonna cover ourselves, and we're gonna give the city a letter, and I would assume the same. If there was a dispute where you felt we were given a variance we shouldn't, we should receive a letter to put in that file with that that occupancy, and that says we dispute that, we think that this should be a sprinkled building, they're saying no, but they're the ultimate authority having jurisdiction when it comes to life safety, so it's the fire department's responsibility. I mean, we're taking on a big risk with it.
Now, I'm wondering if, in addition to this agreement, if there should be something acknowledging this in our code, or does this supersede what it says in the code? Because if it's in the UDO, right? No?
There's not really much.
Well, the UDO though only refers to the fire
fire
code,
code.
right? So
Okay.
it's not spelled out in the UDO for fire code, so there
Okay.
shouldn't be a dispute between the two codes.
Okay.
Because the code is adopted.
Okay, so this is more of an administrative,
So,
yeah.
just to
Okay.
be clear, when you inspect our doing the inspections for us, or when Ron does inspections, he uses the code, the year of the code we've adopted, correct?
Correct.
So
And
it's
it
covered.
would
Okay.
be currently, and we
Right.
would, once the fire district, if we sign this IGA, the fire district, then this is the code we use, which we're gonna mirror each other, because it just makes sense. We don't wanna have conflicts, so
Yeah.
when we update, you guys will update, and, or vice versa. So,
Okay,
It'll coincide with each other.
that sounds good.
because like with life safety code, we always use the most recent code. That's what
Great.
that we refer to.
Okay. Any questions?
So I think on that, then, I would recommend that once our attorneys review the correspondence that the fire department attorney sent back to them and gets back to us, that I can bring that back to
Okay.
committee to review that language again.
Okay,
And just to clear, Debbie, you're gonna add in with your attorney that any variance to any of the applicable codes, the city shall be notified of any changes, right? You would want that in
Yes,
there?
and
Just-
we'll double check with them if I'm directed correctly,
Yeah.
how that affects our planning and zoning variance process and how that would work,
Right.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
just have to answer that question so that they know how that process is.
Okay.
And we can have them sort that all out.
that we make sure it's not somehow
Yeah,
skirting some requirement in the UDO.
and they might have already kind of answered that. I haven't read it yet.
Okay.
Scott just forwarded it to me, so.
Paragraph 2, I was more of a clarification. The district shall complete all inspections within 10 days of receipt of the request of the city. The district shall notify the city's community development department of when they will be conducting inspections and the results of the same. Are you referring to new construction or new projects, or our regular business inspection program we're gonna do, or you receive a complaint and we go out? I guess
These-
I'm just looking for some clarification on that.
The intent of this would be only inspections that we requested of you,
Okay,
not
so,
your own inspections.
so like today?
Yes.
Okay.
Or if we had, new construction and we, submitted a plan review and,
Yep.
or inspection to you, then just for those types of requests.
Okay, so, yeah, I'm fine with that. The question I would have would be then process, the baby formula place that could be coming into town here. They submit plans, they would be directed then to submit those life safety plans to the fire district directly. Does that fall under that paragraph? Is that what you're thinking, or is that something completely different?
So I would think that they would submit them to us and we would submit them to you.
Okay.
And then,
But that paragraph talks about inspections, not
Right.
plan review.
plan review, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I just want to understand.
Oh, so
Yeah.
that would fall under, so this is just for the inspection process. So this would just be, yeah, okay. So we would need something separate for plan review.
So I think in paragraph 4, said we just review.
I think is paragraph 4
Four, we have
discusses
plan
the
review.
Yeah,
plan.
Yes.
discusses the review.
So what was your question then for 2 again? I'm sorry.
So I'm okay with 2.
Okay,
That's fine.
okay. So
with the
plan
10
review
days.
is your question
Yep,
then?
so going to, I should
Okay.
have told you item 4 with the plan review, it's
Okay.
kind of the same timeline. So understanding the process, you guys get it, we get it. I think 10 days is fine for probably 90% of these. But if we were to get another Motorola building, it's obviously gonna take much longer, and that's gonna be one that the district's gonna outsource. We're gonna work with an outside vendor to put a team of people on it. We're still gonna be actively involved in it, but, buildings get bigger and bigger, then, it's more efficient to have a team of people do
Right.
that, and we don't wanna keep people waiting for those reviews, so.
So we would add language on that, then that would fall in line. Your company you outsource with also has a time limit on their plan
Yeah.
reviews, so we could add language that it would coincide with the time limit that your outsourced
Right.
contractor
Something along,
had.
yeah, just so we don't kind of pigeonhole ourselves
Right.
into this IGA and then, hey, wait a minute, you guys were 12 days. Well, this
Yeah.
should be an exception to that rule because it's a big.
For larger.
Well, it seems like you could say
construction
something subject to the size of the
So the
project or something like
Yeah,
that.
that would be fine.
Which
Okay.
would give some wiggle room if it was a really large project, right?
That
Because
makes
obviously a
sense.
larger project can require more time and resources to do the review.
The fee schedule, so page 3. Residents and business also be approved in advance by the city. So our fee schedule, I guess, if we change our fee schedule, how do we want to go? Are we opening up the whole IGA again to that, or is it just a notification? Because obviously fee schedule is going to go up at some point in time. It's not, hasn't changed since last fall when we talked, but at some point.
Yeah, there seems like, there should be some clause in there about,
I thought those fees were the outside agency fees, not the HFPD fee.
no,
It depends if they outsourced or not.
Saying they're gonna, so,
it says in the event.
Fee charge.
right, in the event.
Yeah.
They're gonna,
So
at that
if,
point.
I guess what I'm saying is HLR has a team of people, BNF has a team of people. Are you approving just the fees part of it? I guess I should question this a little better. Are you approving the fees part of it? Or are you approving the outside? Would you rather that, put it in here who we anticipate, whether it's FSCI or HLR?
Yeah, I mean, the way I read this is these are the fees that you charge, the ones listed here, and then in the event that you need to hire an outside plan review
Right.
company, your fee will be $95 plus fee
Plus their
charged
fees.
by the outside agency.
Right, so that's my question,
Yeah.
are we just approving fees or are we, because those can vary pretty significant from what we're gonna charge if we do it in-house.
Right, I mean, the line here also does say, though, I mean, it needs to be reasonable.
Reasonable.
And also be approved before, in advance. So it's, if someone
So
comes through and says, I need,
So do I need to come back to council to do that, or is that something that I'm gonna work out with the building department and the mayor?
I would think
Who
you
has
build,
that
I would think that'd be with the building department.
Yeah,
but-
and
Okay.
I think that's okay because we have an idea of what reasonable is. We have enough.
want to add the verbiage in here to be reviewed by building department.
That would make it, reduce any ambiguity, so.
Right, and that would
That'd be a
make me
good
feel
idea.
better, because I don't wanna have to come back here,
Right.
we all sit here real busy.
Yeah.
7 times in
So
1 year.
also be approved in advance by the community or building department. Something along those lines.
Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, I just, yeah, I mean, basically, this is just protecting,
Mhm.
some guy charging 3 times what these guys would charge, right?
Yeah, right.
So, that's all.
Well, and then do we want to have a sentence that indicates that, from time to time, the fees will be reviewed and updated, and defining what that process is? Is it something that is an administrative change?
Well, how often do
Or
you
is
review
that
that?
something that would come back to the council?
Well, I think, in my opinion, I would suggest that it would read something like, from time to time, as fee adjustments are required, that it come back to committee, because I
Okay.
think the committee should have input to
Okay.
I mean, we
what
made
those
it.
The new
fees
fee
should be.
schedule?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. You guys need to have input. Would it be, put language in there, trying to think of how you can word that.
Do we need to word that when we do the,
It's a contract of a few years.
yeah, when we do,
you
like,
just
with the school, we just
come back.
negotiate and then come back to what we negotiated? I don't think there's
Okay.
specific
What's the
language in
term
there.
of this agreement?
So, yeah, I think if we term it, then we could just
Right.
renew it, and
You
if
could
there was a
renew it.
fee increase at that time,
Yeah, I was thinking how you could
renewal.
put in there verbiage, if you didn't want to term it, you know, just throwing a number out there, a 2% increase per year, anything above whatever that percent is per year would have to come back to gain approval. So if we had to expand, because of, based on growth and things are going, we had to expand our manpower to run that division and hire some more inspectors and plan review people, that increase would be over 2%, so we'd have to come back and say, hey, we need to increase our fees for these reasons, and it's over this percent.
What data would you use to base that on?
What's that?
What data would you use to base a 2% increase, just because it
I
looks
just-
busy, or?
No, I'm just throwing a random number out there. I'm not setting it to that
okay.
2%. I'm just giving ideas for verbiage we could put in there without having to term it, instead of just saying what's reasonable.
I mean, in the same case though, like if this has a term and we need to renew it in however many years it is, at that point during the renewal, it would be like, these are the adjusted fees section, and then we just go, yes, that's good, or no, it's not.
Right.
We wouldn't have to bake in anything that says we're gonna plan to increase it by this much, because it might be more, it might be less. It might be, we don't do the service anymore.
I would even be fine if you guys want, we can do an annual review of the fees. Just, we can put it in there, we'll do an annual review of the fee schedule. That way we don't have to open up the whole IGA every
Yeah.
year. I can just come and say, here's what the 27-28 budget year is looking like for fee schedules for plan review.
So I would recommend adding the fees as an addendum to it. That way you can just change the addendum.
Yes, yes, I like that.
That works for us.
Because the base contract itself remains
Same,
the
yeah.
same. You're just changing the fees, so make the fees in the addendum, and that makes it really easy.
Yeah.
And even at that point though, I think it'd be easier just to, at request, we could hold those meetings, rather than, if we don't need to do it yearly and you're fine with the numbers, we don't have to schedule it then.
Yep, no, I'm fine with that. The last thing, everything in the next section was good. Section 8 was the last one we had. We'd like to keep that at 1 million, especially if we're gonna take on the brunt of this, and we're gonna be the sole responsible for this plan review and inspection. So if there is litigation, that it's gonna fall back on us. We're taking responsibility, so we felt that 1 million. Our attorney, looking at other IGAs similar to this, the city was named at 1 million. He thought 3 million was probably a little excessive. If it was, you guys had the final say in it, then yes, it made sense. But if you guys were gonna give it to us, then 1 million would be sufficient. So,
I'll do that up to the lawyers.
Yeah, I would let the lawyers handle it.
Yeah,
okay. Whatever they
Yeah.
come
It's-
up with,
Whatever they come up with.
they're both really big numbers,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
a good arm wrestling match, and we'll figure it out.
yeah.
Okay. Other than that, those were our concerns. And
Okay.
I think we're very happy with it. And I would like to add what Deb said. It has been an absolute pleasure working with the building department. We've gotten a lot done in a short amount of time. And
Great.
it's really good. You guys have a really good staff, and it's nice to have a good working relationship with the city, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
It's nice to hear. Any questions, discussion from the committee?
So we're gonna get this final agreement then when?
So I will get right on this after, tomorrow. I'll get all this reviewed and try to get everything squared away and back to committee, and we might call a meeting, well, our next meeting would be
July.
So we could have it approved by the July council meeting, if everything got squared away.
But in the meantime, they're still working for us.
Oh, yeah.
We're still working together.
Without a contract.
Yes.
We are collaborating.
Yes,
Okay.
They are.
They've been
Thank
very
you
helpful
that.
for
Yes, they have.
some,
Well, I guess what
Businesses in towns.
is if we have something big going in before July, we should see what we can do
Yeah.
about getting this done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can always call a special meeting. if we need
Exactly.
Especially
to.
from the liability
yes.
standpoint.
Yes, for sure.
Yep.
Okay. All right,
Sounds
thank
good.
you.
Yep.
thank you so much.
I'm gonna go home and get an early dinner. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay. On to item number 8, discussion action to amend McHenry County Enterprise Zone Agreement.
Okay, this is the agreement we've had with the McHenry County Enterprise Zone for several years, and it was brought to my attention that there was some duplicity in our section, which is Section 3. It's highlighted in the packet, which just, this section alone just applies to Harvard programs, so the other municipalities are also included in this agreement, but don't apply to us. And those sections that we're requesting would be the deletion of Section VA, VB5, VB6, and those are, the duplicity lies in the fact that when you're participating or approved in the enterprise zone, you have tax exemptions that are state tax exemptions, and there's no reason for us to have those in our agreement because we don't control those.
Okay,
There was also verbiage in there that we would also waive utility tax, and we don't waive utility tax. I don't know how
Okay.
that got in there. We've never waived utility tax, nor do we want to waive utility tax. That's proprietary, so that will also be removed if you approve the changes of this agreement. And this agreement has also been approved through the enterprise zone as well, so they're just waiting for us to, put the final blessing on it Tuesday, and then it'll all be resubmitted to the state.
Have these caused any problems so far, or is this just housekeeping?
This housekeeping.
Okay.
Yeah, this was brought to our attention by the director of the MCEDC when he was reviewing it. It's been, when did we sign this agreement?
2018?
Yeah, it's quite,
2019, maybe?
this is the new agreement.
Yeah, this is when we added Marengo to
Yeah.
the enterprise zone.
It's 2021, I believe. 2022,
Jeez, time flies.
oh, yeah,
so it's been a while.
yeah.
So I just need a motion if you agree with the corrections or the deletions to send to city council for final approval.
So the changes are just the changes in the language that relates to Harvard and then the addition of the 2 new areas?
The 2 new areas are strictly approved by the enterprise zone themselves.
Okay,
The only
so
change
that's-
that you need to approve would
Okay.
be just our language under our section.
okay.
I'll make a motion to send to city council the deletion of our sections here as outlined in this.
Thank you. Have a second?
For the record, that's sections VA and VB5.
I'll second it.
Okay. Thank you.
Give you
Motion made by
guys,
Albertson, second by Kriete. John's just like. Don't say it out loud. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No opposed. Okay, thank you very much. Goes to council on Tuesday. Okay, discussion, action on appointments of Ethic Commission members per Chapter 3 of the Municipal Code. Deb, do you want to
Sure.
fill us in?
Per your direction, I was able to reach out and find 3 candidates who agreed to sit on our Ethics Commission per Chapter 3 of the Municipal Code, and I put a small biography of each in the packet, so if you didn't know who these candidates were, just a little explanation of who they are, how they relate to Harvard. And I feel that each of these candidates gives a good representation of the community, and would serve the commission well, should we ever need it. Hopefully we don't. The process would be to send their approval, if you so choose, to City Council on Tuesday, and I would contact each of them between now and then to see if they were available for a swearing in on the commission, and then the commission would have to have one meeting to determine who would be the chair and how long each term would be, who would serve the length of which term. And then after that, there would be no need for any further meetings unless we had an alleged violation.
So do we know, so I noticed 2 commissioners have 2-year terms, and the third will serve a 1-year term. Will that be determined at their first meeting?
Straws.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
What was the idea behind those term numbers? I was a little confused about that.
So they would, if 2 had 2 and 1 had 1, I'm not real sure how, they wouldn't all change at the same time, so you would have the consistency of 2, and then 1 would rotate out.
Well,
And then you'd
except you
a
would
new one, and
have,
They would rotate
then
out, so you would always have.
after 2 years, you'd lose 2 and you'd
lose
only have
2, but then
Right, that's
every
why I
other, right?
That's where I was just curious, because like if you have 3 people, and this is just spitballing here, wouldn't it make sense to do like a
1, 2, 3.
one every year?
yeah.
It would. That's how they
Yeah.
chose to do it when they wrote
Okay.
the code,
Okay.
which was a long time ago.
2-year terms.
Right.
Yeah, that's just interesting.
What the thought process was at the time, I do
Yeah.
not know.
Scott, were you on the council when that was created? Do you recall?
I don't believe so.
Oh, that was, yeah, there's a date on that.
It's not listed.
2004?
Oh, 2004, yeah.
No, that was just before I joined council.
Okay. So we don't know what they were thinking at that time.
And was there ever
Not
a
to my
commission?
knowledge.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think there was ever a need for one.
Well,
Till maybe-
that's debatable.
Yeah, yeah,
That depends.
yeah, maybe a couple years ago.
I should add too that this commission would only meet and be applicable to any violations that are in Chapter 3.
As needed.
One of the things I noticed when I was looking through it is, it does say, like, when you're talking about the scope of what they would be covering, it does say elected officials, but it doesn't say appointed. I don't know if we need to do that, because like, planning and zoning's not elected, for example.
All city officers and employees.
It would include any city employee, and a planning and zoning official is considered an employee because they're paid through payroll.
Yep.
So they would be included.
That's where I saw elected when I was reading it.
It's elected as well,
Okay.
but because employees are included, they would be included in that term.
Okay.
So what about members of other boards or commissions that aren't paid?
Like volunteers or,
Yeah, like
Citizens.
members of the, let's say, Parks Board?
Mhm.
Or do they get paid?
The introductory chapter states, Code of Ethics has been adopted to provide guidelines for ethical standards of conduct for all city officers and employees.
So volunteers on commissions or committees, I don't think that would apply, but I can verify that with council.
right.
Right, but like on the scholarship committee or spirit of, the spirit of 76, I don't know how it would apply to those who volunteer, and do they particularly vote on things in a formal?
The only thing they vote on is who to award the scholarship to.
But are they still subject to our ethics code?
Are they
Does it-
subject to OMA and minutes and?
I don't believe they're subject to OMA.
We would have to find that out.
Yeah, 'cause I mean,
I don't know the answer to that, so we'd have to
That's
ask for
something we would have to
legal
ask.
opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you also inquire about if somebody was to refuse payment, could that be considered, you're not getting paid, you're not an employee?
Yeah, I mean, I think
I mean, if you're on a board and it's not in a negative way, you just go, don't pay me. But then you can't be subjected to this.
it's just some way reworded to where it's the people who are subject to our ethics and everything else have to also to this.
It wouldn't even the resident members of, for instance, the Parks Board, still be considered a city official? So they would still be covered under that.
No, because when I was on it, I wasn't considered anything.
You vote,
I was a
therefore you're a
volunteer.
city official.
But they don't make a final vote.
Right.
They just
It was a
recommend to the
committee.
council.
It was a committee.
Yeah, these are good questions.
And
I
they were
should add
appointed.
too, that anytime this commission would meet, legal counsel would be present as well. We would not meet, or they would not meet without our city attorney present. Because you have elected, voted for our city attorney to be our ethics advisor. So, but I will find out the answers to these questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think tonight we're just looking at the
Right.
language, not so much the language and
Right.
what's going on.
Oh, right,
there. So
right. Yeah,
why-
because,
Why don't we just concentrate on that?
okay. Okay, John.
I'm just saying. We're going off on a tangent here and trying to reel us back in.
Oh, man, I love tangents. Okay, so any questions about the three folks who Deb's proposed for appointment? Yeah, I think it seems like a good group to get it started. And then if it turns out that this is a really happening, busy commission, then, might want to, might want to, might have a lot of people that want to be
Yeah.
part of this. So, yeah. So do I have is there a motion to accept the candidates for appointment?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to accept the three candidates that the city administrator has put forth to this committee.
Thank you.
Do I need to name them?
You probably
Carl
should.
Hopper, Raul Meza,
Mesa.
Mesa.
whatever. Meza, and Laura Pichardo.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion made by Lavallee, second by Kriete. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Opposed? No opposed. Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Now, I do think, going backwards off the agenda a little bit, that,
Are you?
You're going
well,
on a
that
tangent.
maybe we
You
should
going
talk,
off on a
that maybe
tangent,
we
Chuck?
should, that maybe we should talk about the rest of that stuff at some point
Okay.
before
Yeah.
we, codify it.
Okay.
Or actually, kind of already is, isn't it?
Yeah. But maybe we can, if there's not too much else on the agenda for July, we can, just look at that to maybe clean it up a little, like with terms and,
I think if we all just read it and
Yeah.
outline whatnot, and see if we issues, and we can talk about it.
Sounds good.
cool. Thank you. Okay, item 10, discussion action on waste hauling services. Man, I remember when we went through this 5 years ago, before Dave left.
So I asked for this to be be placed on the agenda. So our current contract with MDC is expiring in December. They reached out and asked if we would like to negotiate a new contract, and that is not a decision for me to make. I need to bring that to city council for that decision. So you need to decide whether or not you'd like to re-sign the contract or advertise an RFP for a competitive waste hauling service.
So, yeah, that was tough last time, just because, it had been 30 years we'd been with MDC and whoever it was before that, that had folded into MDC, right?
Yes, it was, I think it was Harvard Waste Hauling, which became.
Which is
which-
the same company,
Yeah, which
right.
Yeah.
was
Right.
acquired by MDC.
Yeah, and so we went out to bid and ended up with one bidder.
Which,
Um,
right.
And everything went way up, which, you can't blame them, but
Right, I mean, is there any downside to going to asking for bids again?
we've got time.
I mean,
Should.
do we think we'd get any?
We have been approached by
Ah.
at least
Two.
two other vendors that are interested in bidding for our services.
Okay.
Because I think the last time, because we only had the one.
Yeah.
There were plenty of people who were unhappy.
Yeah.
Right, but we were boxed in,
Yeah.
more or less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were left with, we were unable to negotiate price, but we were able to include additional services at that price.
Yeah.
So, it was a win for the community, but for those who don't utilize those services, they didn't see it that way, so.
And for seniors, it was a big hit.
Yes, so there was a trade-off because council could have reduced seniors' pricing, but then everyone else's pricing would have gone up to subsidize that.
Right.
So the council at that time decided, that they would not do that and tried to pass along that savings to the entire community as it could, so.
Didn't those seniors didn't
They
they
did
get
get a
some, they did get a
reduction.
smaller bin? They were
They
all
They got a
getting
yes.
smaller bin, and, so there were, in terms of price, there was no concession, but in terms of maneuverability and ability to move,
Oh, they
did
paid the same
concede.
for the small bins?
No, they
I thought it was a little
pay,
bit
they
less.
pay less. Yeah, they do pay a
Yeah,
little
there is,
less.
there is a little
Yeah.
less, right,
Yeah,
but it was not as,
not like it used to be.
yes, correct.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
the good old days.
What
No.
the delta was not at
Yeah.
the same delta that it was in the previous
right, it's
contract.
like, it's $4.50 less for senior than for everybody else. And,
It makes the most sense to submit this for bid, just because we do have people that are interested and it's coming up, right?
Yep.
Whether it be that they come back as still the best option, I mean, great, then no one has to get rid of their bins yet. But otherwise, I think we'd be doing the town injustice if we didn't put it to bid.
I think we have to,
Yeah, I think you should.
yeah. I think
If
we have
there's
to.
somebody interested, give them a chance to propose,
I mean,
and the public.
are you looking for
Right.
a motion to have city council do that, or?
At your discretion, but yes, in order to go to a bid process, we need council to
Okay.
give us that authority.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make a motion to have city council submit this for bid for other waste management options.
second?
Second?
Okay, motion by Albertson, second by Kriete. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's send this to council to send it out for bid. Nice, thank you. Okay, discussion on commissioner and committee member appointment process. So this is my thing.
That's what I thought when I read it.
Hey, there was an email, you were copied,
I saw it.
yeah. So, just to repeat what I said in my email, I guess, it seems to me that there's been some frustration, in particular recently with the zoning board appointments and the process of people being removed from the zoning board. I would also say that there's a lack of clarity, I guess, on people's terms on different commissions. There's no information on the website. Speaking with current members of the zoning board, they do not know what their terms are. They don't know if next year they're going to just get a letter from the mayor saying that their term is over and thank you for your service. And that's not a good feeling for people who have volunteered for the community for any length of time. So, there's a couple things, there's, how are we, something to share?
No.
No? Okay, thank you. So there's a couple things. So there's both the termination of people's terms and then the process, some transparency in the process for new individuals being appointed. I have concerns that when the appointment is brought to the council and it's just people's names and not necessarily people that we know anything about, and unlike what Deb did tonight, where she provided a nice brief bio for the individuals as to, some rationalization as to why, some reason for why they were being appointed. We're just presented with names. And as we saw happen, for instance, in the appointment of, initial appointment for Joe, that when there was no one on the council felt comfortable in just going with that appointment, we were criticized by the mayor for that. But we just needed more information and needed some involvement in the process. I know there were some concerns about, at the last council meeting with a couple of the appointees for the zoning board, where they may not have understood, why some council members voted against that it was more about process than about the individuals themselves. So I'm wondering how other folks feel about maybe changing the process so that when appointments do come to the council, that there are at least some of the council members from whatever the appropriate committee might be that have actually interviewed these individuals, been part of that process, rather than just, we have positions, we have openings to fill, and here's who the mayor wants to go. So it's the whole idea of advice and consent. What does that mean? So, any thoughts?
I mean, yes, to what everything you've said. And you brought up a few other points in there too, which I think we need to circle back to.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think having a brief bio, because like even then, for both appointments I've had, there wasn't much of a bio given, right? Luckily, I mean, if you guys watched any of the zoning meetings, you would know who I am, but before that, and to be fair to credit, at least when I was on the zoning board, there was conversations, it's just, it wasn't written. And that's one of the things I think maybe just as a city, we could do better with people understanding. And the other thing you mentioned too, if like you go on the website, I don't know, maybe when the person joined, as an example, because our names are listed there. Something just to show tenure in the position. It's just an idea with that, but yeah, I mean, that's just being more transparent to the community about, who these people are. The one thing you did say there, though, about the information for when people are brought on, and it's been same thing for all this, there's not a lot of onboarding information for folks, and that's just, you kind of hit the ground running. And especially with zoning too, because you get the book and it's like, okay, have fun reading this, right?
Right.
So I don't know for that, and it's something the city's been doing better about since 5 years ago. But having just a plan of people like, hey, this is who you talk to for this stuff here, this is what you need to be familiar with, this is how these meetings go. I wasn't given the privilege of learning that until I was thrown into it.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's unfortunate because I think that group of people is the ones that are most susceptible to not knowing how it's going to go.
Right. Right.
And I don't think we're doing them any justice either when we throw them into the fire like that. Especially considering now there's only one really tenured person on that committee.
Right.
And the others are all pretty new. So
Yeah,
it's
new
just,
and-
it's,
yeah.
I think setting ourselves up for success in the future too.
I agree.
I like the idea, especially with that particular body, of having terms. And having, just like we stated there, that there should never be a time when we only have one person that's been there for a while and a bunch of new people. It should always be kind of a mix,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, unfortunately, people also just stop showing up.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't had a meeting in, it's gonna be 7 months, almost. So, like,
I figured they had nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, when isn't that the case? They don't
Yeah.
have meetings
Yeah,
when
there
they don't
hasn't
have
been
anything to talk about.
An issue to have a meeting.
Right,
I know
but-
June's canceled.
right, because like the last meeting was in December, but it's the same thing where half your tenure, you haven't done anything.
So you're not even getting, getting some experience with even some simple cases. Yeah, because we've improved things so that some of the silly things don't have to go to the zoning board.
Right.
We have other ways of approving those.
And to be fair, the tenure thing, it is, because I remember getting the emails asking if I would like to continue doing it, right? So it's not that it doesn't expire, it could. That was up to the discretion as well. It's like, hey, at this point, if you haven't been showing up, or if you're hostile to the community, or whatever it is, they might say, hey, I'm not gonna ask you to come back during the next term, right? So that is there. It's just there's not a lot of transparency around that process. And I think it's better for them to know it.
Yeah.
It's just what it comes down to.
Well, to that point too, it's nice that if that comes up, we let the public know there's possible openings.
Well, and I
You
think-
may have a list of people that have already said that, but, it's good to know that we got a big group of people
Right.
that
Right.
may have gone, oh, I'd like to interview, or I'd like to discuss. But
Right.
it's also good in the process, even for myself, I'd prefer to know who, on top of an appointment or recommendation, I'd like to see the qualifications.
Yeah.
I'm not going to second guess, but I want to know as much as I can know.
Yeah, what are they bringing to the table? That's going to be
Unfortunately,
helpful.
yeah, a great example is the one that had to resign.
Yeah.
It was nice to hear a few people say, so you just appoint anybody? You just say yes to anything?
Yeah.
And you didn't know that?
Yeah.
I didn't have an answer.
Right.
I'm sorry, what was the issue with the resignation?
She didn't have a valid city address.
That's unsubstantiated. She resigned
Yeah.
because her husband they're moving.
Well, it just goes to, I referred it to the city. I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
Talk to the city, but if there was just a little more info in the back, not that that would have gave me anything else either, more is better, especially being
Right.
newer. I don't see an issue with it because you guys spend a lot of time doing your part of the job. So just share it with us and then we're all on the
Yeah.
same page. 'Cause
Exactly.
Especially lately, I'm so busy, I can't call you every minute to say, I got a
Just every
question,
other minute.
Question, yeah, everybody knows, right?
And to be fair, I don't think we're asking for resumes or anything like that, unless
No.
it is actually a hire, like Joe, right?
Yeah.
But that's a whole different thing about being involved in those processes. But
Yeah.
I think in this case, it's similar to like what Deb did provide, where it's just, a little blurb about them and what you saw of what they would bring to the community, kind of a thing. I mean, and to be fair, that shouldn't be very hard to write for these people if you're like, yeah, I like you, right?
Check
Well,
yes or no.
And having other municipalities actually have, for boards and commissions, they actually have an application available on the website that people can fill out and submit. And like McHenry County has that for a number of boards and commissions. And that's an easy thing to do. I think. And actually asks them to, provide some information, about themselves and about what their interest is. Then it's not just a,
Yeah, I'd be interested if we had that, if we would get people to do it, right? And then we actually had a pool to choose from.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
Make the who's ever, doing those appointments easier, I would think, anyway.
there's not always a lot of people out there biting for these
No,
positions either.
I get that, that's what I'm saying,
Right.
I'm wondering if we
Yeah.
would actually get some.
I'd like to see it
Right, but-
promoted more too.
Don't mean
You
to
know,
be,
When the opportunity comes up, just,
I guess maybe like not necessarily this is the link to submit for planning and zoning, but like a general form of like, hey, I'm interested in helping with the city if there's a position open, because I know like we talked about police pension before as well and stuff like
Right.
that, where it might not be that, but like you go through and it's like, oh, hey, I saw 2 years ago you submitted interest, are you still interested? We had some openings come up, we'd love to interview you, kind of a situation, right?
Right.
Just that gets more into like the candidate resource management aspect of it, but that should also hopefully make everyone else's jobs easier.
and having the information available as to what are people's terms. When do people's terms expire? So that they, not only do they know, but anybody in the community knows. It's transparent, it's clear. It's not, like if somebody was appointed to finish out someone else's term, that they know that, that, okay, they've only actually, it's a 2-year appointment. It's not a full 5-year appointment for the zoning board, things like that.
Yeah, I believe during some of those interviews that I've had with those appointees, that was part of the discussion. But I think one of the things we can do from the city's perspective to make it very clear is where their names are promulgated under the various committees and commissions, we can put the dates of service, so appointed on X date
Term
and term expires X date. That way everybody's very clear.
That would be good.
That's an easy
Oh, yeah.
fix.
Mhm.
Most of the planning and zoning commission appointments, I think, for the most part, were appointments finishing out a previous term. So, because most of those
are those
appointees.
terms defined?
Yeah, the terms are,
Okay.
it's a 5-year term.
Okay.
And so, I would say most of our planning and zoning commissioners over the last 8 years, most of them resigned before the end of their term.
Would it be less than? Should it be, say, 3 years?
I don't know, that was all codified back whenever
Yeah.
they created it. You
5
could
years
change-
is very common in
Yeah.
Illinois.
You could change the term, that would require codification, but 5 years, I think, is a common term
Yeah.
for planning and zoning.
see where the Build Act goes? You can always change it, right?
So,
Well, and it frankly, as Jay pointed out, we have one person on the zoning board right now who has any experience.
Be the president?
Yes, he is.
that's good.
He's the chair.
Or the chairman,
And
maybe?
the other individual who had very good attendance record and who had also a long time of service his term was ended without him being asked if he'd like to continue. So he did not get a call saying, hey, are you still interested in doing this? He just got a letter saying your term is up and thank you, and
That's it?
yeah, that's it. And I personally, I have a problem with that. And I know the mayor knows I have a problem with that. And
I do too
everybody
now.
else does. Yes, most people do.
Fair, that is how it is processed right now. If you want that to be different, we have to change the code.
Right, exactly.
Right, but no, it does not have to be that at the end of somebody's term, they don't get a call, that they just get a letter.
Sure.
It's a 5-year term, they can be renewed forever. And that Steve Creviston was not contacted. And
They
then
can
we're
be
left
renewed-
with the zoning
they can
board
be renewed indefinitely
with no,
at the discretion of the mayor.
with the advice and consent of the council.
Agreed.
Yeah, but on the termination side, the council doesn't get any say in that.
That's correct.
And
That's state statute.
yeah,
But it would-
that's
it would
state
be nice.
statute, but it would be
Yeah.
nice.
Be
And
nice.
And I think one of the reasons that it's 5 years and not 3 is because
Mayor
of
is
the-
4.
Exactly. And so then you don't, it's like with the Federal Reserve, it's like the term crosses presidencies. So,
So I did reach out to, when we got the email, just, to make sure all the bases were covered, I did reach out to legal counsel just to get an idea of what advice and consent means, right? And it's a term that's according to the law, has been long understood to be a legislative action that can simply approve or deny an executive action, right? What that looks like can be anything from that point. Historically, in Harvard, the mayor has always appointed directors, commission members, committee members on his own. Mayor Kelly is the first to have brought directors to interview in front of the committees in which, the department applies, for example, infrastructure.
yep,
The directors for wastewater interviewed in front of
Which is great.
infrastructure. I interviewed with admin. So, that's something newer that was never done in the past. How far you want to take this action as far as the advice and consent and all of that, you could take that far, you could scale it back, but keep in mind, as Alderman Albertson said, the pool is not great. There's not a whole lot of people who are in line to serve on these committees and commissions. And when you're talking about reappointments or calling people and asking them if they want to serve again, you also need to take into consideration if there are people who do want to serve and haven't had a chance, that, they're considered as well, right? So those are all questions that need to be answered as far as how you want this process
so
to
then
look.
we had 3 people who wanted to serve on the zoning board that had reached out and wanted to serve on the zoning board, and so we had to
Get rid of them.
get rid of other people. That's what I'm hearing. That's what that sounds like.
I found it a little odd too, and it's speculation, but to that point, when there's so much coming down the road.
Yeah.
It's kind of clearing the bench with,
Yeah.
and again, nothing against the new folks, but I'm not that comfortable knowing that they're not, I'm sure they got resources, they got brains.
Yeah.
They'll do their homework, but
Right. And what training are they going to get
kind
other
of
than
would
the
like a
book?
better, a better crew ready to go.
Yeah.
As, we're here in the building season too.
Yeah.
But that's just my point of view.
To be fair, also, they're just an advisory council. City council still gets to say, no, I don't like what you said, and shut it down. You guys have done that to us plenty of times, and I was on
Oh,
the
yeah.
board.
Yeah,
So
I've seen
like,
it.
Yeah.
they don't have.
There's a
actual
check and balance.
Yeah.
Final say on
Yeah.
anything. So like, if people get appointed and we don't like them, or whatever they're doing, or they don't do their homework,
Similar to what you wrote up, that's probably just a great start.
Yeah.
Yellow bio, you kind of know what you're thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're not going, it's not that you're not trusted or have good opinions, it's just a little extra to go, this is more that you need to know.
Yeah.
Why I think this
Yeah,
person.
a little
should be appointed.
transparency. Yeah.
It makes sense if you have someone serving on an art commission versus a planning and zoning commission. It's two drastically
Sure.
Yes.
different things
Yeah.
as far as experience goes, but there's got to be a starting point too. Not everybody started on the planning and zoning commission knowing everything, so then what does that training look like?
Mhm.
Right.
And do we have to revisit that as well?
And again, I think advertising that opportunity,
Yeah.
if nobody signs up, at least it's out there. That something's coming up, it's available.
Right.
Think about if this fits your schedule or interest,
Yeah.
you know.
Or even, mentioning it to us to reach out to folks we know that might be, good candidates. Because not everybody's on social media,
Right.
and not everybody is comfortable just, oh, I think that's something I want to do. But sometimes if asked, they're like, yeah, that does sound interesting. And maybe they just need a little invitation to,
have you read the book? It's not interesting.
The book,
The
the
UDO.
zoning book? Oh, absolutely. No, that was 7 years of my life. I was a zoning administrator. So, yeah, I know all about that.
If I can make a personal observation, as far as getting people involved, what got me involved in 2002, I believe, 02 or 03, was a small article in the Northwest Herald that Ralph Henning was looking for somebody to serve on the Planning and Zoning Board, and called to set up an appointment, phone number,
Yeah.
before a lot of people had email.
Yeah.
And so I did, and we sat in his office in the old basement over there, and he appointed me to Planning and Zoning, and that's what got me started on city government.
And I saw that article too and reached out to him, and he never returned my call. What's that?
First.
I guess.
No, I mean, I think it's a different problem we're talking about here. It's the outreach and advertisement, just in general, for community involvement into positions like that, right? Because I ended up there because I said, oh, hey, I'll do this job when no one registered to run for the office, and then no one even signed up on his first round saying, hey, does anyone want to be a fourth ward alderman? And then I was like, oh, no one's doing this, I guess I could reach out. And then I interviewed, and then we talked later on and decided to do planning and zoning because of my background with analytics, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's different, right? It's
Yeah.
like, even then, like, no one wanted this job, right? So, like, there's
Right.
no community involvement, and I think that's a general problem we should think of.
Right, but it's not that no one wanted the job that you have right now, it's that the person passed away
No, back then, before
I know.
before she took it.
before Rosa was appointed, right?
Yeah, but like, when it
Yeah.
came to the election time, no one
Yeah.
registered.
But
My
then-
ballot was empty.
But, right, that's right. But that was, 7 years ago, and then she was elected.
Correct.
And, yeah, and then you were appointed. But there was no interview process. It was just, oh, Jay applied before, and he's been on the zoning board, and so
I'm not talking
now-
about this right now. I'm talking about back when I did it zoning.
Right, but
Because like,
there was no one else interviewed for your position now.
and that's not what I'm talking about.
I know, but Mike just appointed you.
You guys all approved it, though.
We did.
So
We did.
I don't know what your point is.
Well, I don't know what your point is.
I'm talking about the lack of community interest in open positions.
But we've gotten away from that in terms of elections now. We had, the last election, we had people run for every seat.
One, typically.
Right, except in the first ward. And I've run against at least one person every time.
But my point again is that in general, there's not a lot of community interest in positions.
Well, I think too, to your point is you're right, but I think every member and of anything we do here, it's their job to get to know the community and those people.
Yeah.
Get them interested or let them know what you do.
Yeah.
Some of them might think they do it better than you.
Right.
Or they're happy with how you're doing it. Bottom line, I think most of them just like to know someone is doing something.
Yeah.
Be careful with that because then you get a lot of phone calls. And some visitors.
I would like to interject some thought process in this, and that is from the mayor's perspective. Bringing to the committees for department heads, as Deb pointed out, is something that I brought because department heads have to work with committees and with the council. And so in my view, that it was important to be collaborative with city council for those positions because they're bureaucratic positions. And when I say bureaucratic, what I mean is their staff. They don't come with an agenda. They are employees. The difference between commissions and committees versus directors is that those are political positions. They are not employees. And as such, that's why the mayor has the ability to appoint, and the legislation has the ability to agree or disagree. But the political positions are to the purview of the mayor because the mayor is the de facto policymaker for the city when it comes to administration. And so that's why the process is set up by the state statute in that way. I have no issue in trying to be more collaborative with the city council, but I want you to be clear that the lines of distinction here are the administration of the city falls under the purview of the mayor. The legislation, the codification, and the money is controlled by the city council. They're two distinct, different roles. And so when I make an appointment to a commission or to a committee, it's because that person is aligned with my agenda, not necessarily yours. The city council, you have your own agendas. Each of you have your own agenda. That's why you're elected. And you go to the council or to the constituents to plead your case to be elected into that position. But committees and commissions fall to the purview of the mayor. And so if you're unhappy with the selections of the mayor, your job is to say, no, I don't agree, I vote no. If you want to have more control over those appointments, then my recommendation is to run for mayor, because that's the mayor's purview, not the legislative body of the city. Again, I am all about being collaborative with the city council. That's why I brought department heads to you, because I felt very strongly that our employees should be have an opportunity for the city council to interview those employees to ensure that they align with the city's goals and strategies and visions. So again, bureaucracy versus political, that's why this is my stance. You can agree or disagree. I just wanted to explain that's my perspective on these appointments and why they are designed or created the way they are by state legislature. Is that fair?
Yeah, that is. Thank you.
Okay.
No, to be fair, like you do a lot more than you have to, right? So it's, I think we just want to, let's try to do more.
I think what you're asking in terms of, hey, can I have a small biography? I don't think that's unreasonable.
Yeah.
So I want to be clear on that, but I also want to be clear, if I make a decision, I'm happy to talk to you in private about that, but I'm not interested in discussing that in an open meeting about why I might make a decision. And so if you would like more details about a decision that I've made, let's do it. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, thank you. Man, I was looking forward to some of those Senate-style confirmation hearings. Damn.
Interviews and everything?
Yes.
More interviews?
Yes. Okay, well, thank you.
We will get the website.
Yeah, so I
Okay,
think, yes,
thank you.
updating the website for terms and when they
Yes.
end, that's an easy thing. I think adding those descriptions that you're seeking, we can do that. And there was one other item you had
Just
mentioned.
giving them more information, like other committees, not just zoning, but other committees,
Sure.
give people more information about what it means and the timeframes, like just so there's
Right.
no question, but like that, and then like really what's in the purview of what they do.
And I think we can certainly advertise more about positions as they come available, so that if people are interested, they can contact me. If you have someone that you recommend, have them contact me. I'm not opposed to interviewing your recommendations as well. And then lastly, when it comes to training, I'm agreeing with you. I think we have been trying to move not only commissioners and committee members, but employees, providing more training so that they're more prepared and have adequate knowledge to do their jobs. For planning and zoning, I think, it really, because it's a legal issue as well as procedural, I think we're going to need to engage maybe our attorneys to provide that kind of training. So I'm on board with getting planning and zoning more training so that they can make their decisions and feel confident in the decisions that they make.
I think the biggest piece where, at least I would like to see there, is similar to the community of the whole meeting I went to previously, where I finally learned how meetings are supposed to be structured, that
Right.
kind of training. Not like, oh, this is what you should read into a book and how you should make your decisions, but like.
The
this is-
procedural portion of it.
Yes, that needs to be in part. of it.
And we recognize that based on how some of those meetings.
Yes.
Right, so without a doubt, there's definitely room for improvement there.
And again, that's beyond that board, just.
And your comment about onboarding is the same thing, just like with onboarding with council members, and onboarding committee members, we've been trying to create those kind of onboarding processes to provide better foundation, for people who are stepping up to serve. Because it's a little daunting when you're, okay, now I'm either elected or appointed, what do I do? So it can be a little daunting.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, and I appreciate the willingness to provide more clarity.
Sure.
Any other questions?
No.
No?
It
Okay.
was good. No, I think that was a good discussion.
If anyone out there listening
around.
wants a position, talk to Mike.
Both of you.
Because you never know when someone might, they, for whatever reason, people step down, especially planning and zoning, we had a bunch step down over time for just health reasons,
Yeah.
or they moved, or whatever. And there's always, and then it's kind of a scramble to try and find someone, although for some, I kind of have a working list. So, just because over time, I'm always asking people, as I see that may have interest, like, if you have interest, let's talk, because there may be a room for you to serve somewhere, so.
Okay. Item number 12, declare surplus property.
This is the stuff we want to get rid of.
Most of this is Rob's, is it not?
You should declare it.
Man, those are some sweet chairs.
Yeah,
Would you like
I'm telling
those?
you, I'm
Sell them to you.
pretty sure if you put them on the curb, somebody would grab them.
50 pounds.
They're pretty
I
heavy.
don't know, these.
They're solid wood.
these will look
Those
good
are
in your
sweet,
den.
aren't they?
I'm just
Yeah.
telling you.
My basement.
Let's
With my
refinish
other
those.
chairs.
I mean,
They don't make them like that anymore.
right.
There's a reason.
So,
Can't throw them.
so we have 40 of those chairs?
We have 4, yes.
The wood
Of,
ones?
of those purple chairs?
They're like a blue, and some of them are mauve, and some of them are blue.
They're various office
Yeah.
chairs.
Wow.
Some of them are at the plant, some of, they're scattered.
Yeah, some
all
are at
around.
wastewater plants,
Some are in the
some are-
basement.
Yeah, they're,
Wow.
Wherever we can stash them.
Are these the ones being listed for scrap?
Yes.
Yep. Various chairs, 40 for scrap.
Curb, somebody would take them. Telling you.
that's quite possible.
I'm telling you. People that take
I
stuff.
got an entertainment center I want to get rid of, so I'm about ready to put it on the
Don't
curb.
put more than one out on the curb at a time. You will get in trouble.
Depends.
Yes, sir.
It depends.
Code enforcement will come by and let you know.
Okay, so is there, anybody want to make a motion to approve the surplus property
Motion to
disposal?
declare surplus property as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion made by Kriete, second by Albertson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No one opposed.
Sears and Roebuck made transits. Where did that come from?
Wow.
That's an old piece of equipment.
Antique.
Transit and grade
thinking.
pull. What is that?
Transit is
For surveying?
it's for surveying.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. The grade poles
Yes.
for, you You look through the viewfinder
Yeah,
on the
the
transit.
survey
and
pole,
you-
okay.
Yeah,
Looking for the
but Sears and
elevation.
Roebuck came out of the catalog, right?
Go to the museum.
It's
Their
less.
surveyor section of the catalog.
Thinking the Historical Society might want that.
Yeah. Wouldn't be a bad idea.
Oh, man. New business. Do you have any new business?
Did a few things.
Okay,
So one we emailed about briefly, would like to see more daylighting standards is what they're called, when it comes to traffic at intersections with both
Okay.
crosswalks and cars at stop signs. Our town doesn't really have any standards in place, and there's quite a few intersections in town where it's really unsafe for either pedestrians or people trying to make turns. Speaking of Blackman Street earlier, that's one of them. And to Thompson Street, where I live, is pretty bad as well.
that's improved though, hasn't it, with perfection?
What changed? I don't.
Well,
No.
Deb, I mean, we talked about that. No. Yeah, I forgot.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all right. We ended up talking to the business owner, and they're not parking at all on any of the spaces to the gate, and then the two spaces past that they are using, they're parking back, they're parking two smaller SUVs and no trucks there
Okay.
anymore, so all of the larger vehicles are there, so that line of sight isn't blocked by those vehicles anymore.
And we could
And then their
paint the
vehicles are also
curbs back, couldn't we?
gone
If
by
there's
5
a
o'clock.
issue with, they're
And
parking
noon
too
on
close to the
Fridays.
intersection, is that the problem?
And
Can-
with big vehicles.
Yeah.
Well, they can't anyways, even though they had the car there over the weekend, but that I don't think was them.
Yeah, he moves all his vehicles inside, or the employees leave, right?
Just for John's edification, so he knows what
Thank
we're
you.
talking about.
Yeah, how you talking about?
Yeah, so this is near the intersection of Ayer, Thompson, and Marengo down there,
That's one more block here.
right there.
Yeah.
So the part of
Yeah.
the problem we run into
So
is,
was when people were parking here in front of his lot,
Yes.
when you came here, you could not see oncoming traffic.
I gotcha. I see what you- I gotcha.
yeah, you could see about maybe 70, 80 feet if you're lucky, but also that intersection is set further back because of the way the road expands there. So people are gaining speed from Ayer going from 20 to 30.
So here's an example where you
And
can see.
that's a good example of what it's typically like, and you can't see over that.
So now he's not using these parking spaces at all, and then these spaces here, they're parking, actually the two employee vehicles that have the smaller vehicles, and then any larger vehicles, they're parking more to the north. And then those are all gone by the end of the day, either parked inside or the employees are gone for the day, and then nothing on the, it
But
shouldn't be anything on the
This
weekends.
is an example of what daylighting is, though, because when you pull up, you can't see, right? And it's the same thing with the other auto shop, where,
Go to Blackman and, oh, she's 14.
With the cranes.
what's funny is that photo, you can see there's a car on the sidewalk.
No, there isn't.
So it's a similar situation where,
It's common,
yeah, and it's just.
more than it should be.
But I'd like to always address like some sort of standards for
Yeah.
daylighting.
Okay. Now, should that be infrastructure? Since it's roads?
I mean, it's mostly parking restrictions.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I mean, that right there is a violation anyway, so
Yes.
Yes.
regardless if we're
Clearly
talking
on
about
the
daylighting
sidewalk.
or not,
Yeah.
that guy shouldn't be there.
Plenty of daylight here.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing if you, it's.
I was trying to-
Most intersections is a problem though, which is why even downtown on Air Street, we have the
Yeah,
passenger
Air Street,
vehicle.
yeah,
Yeah.
Air Streets, even with that can be difficult.
Yeah, it is, and-
You gotta inch up to be able
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, we've done about everything we can there with the no SUV. We pulled out the large boxwoods. We did just about, and you still have to inch
I
out.
think the only other thing
You
you
do.
could do for those intersections on here would be to add a concave mirror.
Or
on the opposite side.
make everyone stop.
Yeah.
Well,
which
there
no one
would
wants
be
to
that
do.
as well.
Do like I do and drive a full-size truck.
You just drive over them.
I can see over most cars.
But no, I don't know where and what it would entail, but it's one of those things where, at least safety standards wise, because that's the same thing, like when
So I'd recommend engaging our engineer, Gary, for, some input on that, so.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was something I was pestering you about in email, and I don't think you want to do it, but I was talking to the fire chief briefly too, where it comes to fire hydrant colors in our town. And we don't have any standards outlined in our ordinances at all. Typical state standards involve usually hydrant pressure, and that's where you color code if you want to be anything else other than red. The typical policy for municipalities is leave the caps red. The rest of it doesn't matter as much, which even on our Air Street, the bodies are black on all of our hydrants. The rest of the town, as far as I'm aware, mostly full red.
And there was some controversy when they were painted black. They were painted black by a volunteer group in town who wanted to go around and kind of spruce up Air Street. And I think they must have had black paint. And so it created controversy because typically if a hydrant's painted black, it means it's out of service.
Correct.
And so the compromise was, okay, then the caps are still red. And so that's kind of how it went down, but yeah.
Right.
So it was my understanding where we left it that had to do with the pressure, and that's why they
And
couldn't
that's-
all in uniform.
Correct, but everything in the town's red anyways because we don't pressure
Right.
more cars. And I was talking to the fire chief too. They're going to have more information about service calls and that anyways. So that's its own thing, but a lot of it also is finding the fire hydrant, right? You look for red typically.
Right.
The part where I was wondering, and this is completely optional, but my wife and I were talking about it, it would be kind of neat if Harvard were to paint the fire hydrants along the Milk Days parade route to look like cows and leave the red bits red that we need to.
So, I personally like that idea. There was a community in Northern Virginia where I grew up where they painted all of their fire hydrants like people. So they were police officers, they were firefighters, they were public works, they were teachers, I don't know, so it made it like a little person.
With a red hat?
With a red hat or whatever, and it was very cute. Whether or not emergency services cared for that
Right.
or not, but I think the community really liked it because it was an art project.
Well-
But to your point of embracing kind of a bovine type of thing, that would be kind of fun. But I would certainly recommend getting, Harvard Fire Protection District's input to that, so.
And yeah, it was a brief conversation, not a written, we're okay with this, but that's the direction. I would like to see where we could go with that potentially.
Good thing for an arts commission to do.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yes.
Could be. The name of that town, I don't know if they still do it, but that was 40 years ago. But it was very distinct when you came into the municipality because all of these fire hydrants were painted like people. It was really.
Well, even on top of that, a closer example is Poplar Grove, but they fully painted theirs, which I think is a little too far. But if you go through, you can see a lot of fun, unique paint jobs and all those. It's a little artsy. If the arts committee wants to go that route, but I thought at least a cool, oh, hey, why is this fire hydrant spotted like a cow? That's the parade route, right? Something like that.
Like it.
But yeah, I think more follow-up needed. Tentatively, he said it doesn't matter as long as they say red tops, but I'd rather get that in writing. That was it for
So
myself.
they just need black and white paint.
Yeah.
I do have one new business input for the committee to consider, and it's a bit along fire safety or in public safety, and that is especially in Wisconsin, but I think even in rural McHenry County, residents have a municipal provided sign that shows their address. Now, the city's code requires you to have the address on your building, but it's not standardized. So everybody's address has a different number, it's in a different location, and sometimes in the dark for emergency services, you can't even find it. Plus, we do have some non-conforming legal residences that are split up into 2 and 3 units on a single-family home. And so what I'm recommending is that we consider implementing these yard signs that designate the address of the property. So if you drive into Wisconsin, you'll see what do you call those, green, just like
The reflective ones?
but yeah, it's a
Like,
reflective
yeah, I
sign.
know.
It has their property address number on it.
And where's that placed?
Typically, it's placed in the right-of-way so that emergency services can find the address quickly. It's really convenient or noted in rural areas because the color of the sign dictates how far the house is from
Right.
where the
And,
right-of-way
and
is.
they do that in the county here.
They do,
Yeah,
yes, that's what I'm
yeah.
suggesting. So I'm thinking for the city of Harvard, it would really be beneficial for our residents because of emergency services, to finding those residences, especially at night, just something to consider. It's not required today, but it's something that I kind of feel like it would be well received by emergency services.
Well, don't we have an ordinance that says that we can go around looking at what's on the houses now?
So the ordinance
And
right
they
now
have to be
requires you to
improved?
have your house number on the house,
Right, and visible.
invisible, yes.
Because I know the post office does it with the mailboxes. They'll let you know if they don't like how your address looks.
Oh, yeah.
But not all mailboxes have the address on it, and
Right.
if the house doesn't have the number on it and we find it from code enforcement, we would notify them, hey, you have to have a house number on your house. But what I'm suggesting is, if you've ever been on a ride-along and we're looking at the house numbers at night, you can't see them. You just can't see them.
Yeah.
And so
I mean-
it makes it more difficult, especially in an emergency situation. It would just be helpful. Those seconds can matter in certain circumstances.
See your point there. I don't think you get a lot of folks wanting one of those in their easement, though.
Maybe not.
Because you know how certain signs in the park system would last a week? Probably be the same thing. You know, the post is gone and
It's
so's
something
the
for
sign.
it's something for the community to consider.
Yeah.
I think it would be beneficial for the community, but it's, we've not had it since 1856, so.
Right.
In the
But-
county, they're usually right by the mailbox, right? Like
Usually,
They're
yeah.
placed up by the mailbox.
Yeah, at the beginning of
so
the
they're not
driveway,
just in
yeah.
the-
Yeah, they're not just putting,
Well, to be fair,
But-
not everyone's
But that's
mailbox is
it's in the
Right.
right of way, but usually by the mailbox
But-
or by the driveway.
Mailboxes on my house.
Well,
Okay,
other-
but now, okay, so old part of town, mail slot is in my front door.
Right.
And driveway is on the corner, the other
The
street.
other
So
street, yeah.
you could put 904 by my driveway and it wouldn't mean anything because it's on Roosevelt and my front
Right.
door is on Jefferson. And for 20 years, we didn't update the numbers on our front of our house that were there from the previous owners, and they were painted black, so you really couldn't see them because it's a brown house. And we finally painted them gold, but no one ever said anything.
well, I know that, like, some of the alternatives to that were towns that had curbs. They
Yeah,
painted the address on the
There
curb.
you
Yes, and
And it's a
I live
little
in a
less,
community where all the curbs, you
904.
you
Yep.
could paint it on your curb.
yeah.
But that's when I lived in Texas, where it never snowed, so it was never covered by snow. And we live in a community where we have, half the community doesn't have any curbs.
Right.
So,
No, that's what I'm saying, if we had
Yeah.
more of them. But,
so just to, this is something that I'm making a suggestion that we consider because I think it would be very beneficial for emergency services.
I'd like to hear from our emergency services folks
I gotta,
as to whether it's an issue. I
I
mean,
gotta
it's,
think in this day of age, if somebody gets an
Yeah.
address, they punch it into their GPS and they
GPS.
go right there. I mean,
Well, that too, you got like 3 different pieces of equipment,
I
the
gotta
car,
think
the
that.
phone, and maybe the
Yeah.
passenger.
Yeah.
They all got the same info. But just knowing what, again, I see the point why. I just think we'd be looking for a lot more of those stakes and signs down the road.
I mean, I
they'd all show up
I
on
personally
Crawley
think-
Road.
I personally think because our ordinance says it needs to be on the house, that we just need to start enforcing that.
That should be enforced right away, yeah.
Fair enough.
And,
'Cause there's some
quite-
dingy
and
ones.
quite frankly, they could come over and give me a friggin' ticket because I don't have it, so. I've been meaning to get to Menards and get those darn things and get them up, but I keep forgetting.
That warning will get them to do it though, right? No, but,
I do have spray paint, I'll take care of it.
I think I agree with your sentiment though, where I don't like the idea of forcing people to have to do it, but I think having more education around what's visible, what's good, because you don't want your house to be in that situation, right? And it's not a problem until it's a problem.
Yeah.
But I'm also not gonna put my address on a sign in front of my house when my mailbox is on my house. Like,
Pizza guy can get there.
right, but even that, they don't know how to read GPS, so it's.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. I think more education and maybe depending on what's up, if the city has the excess funds to help fund some people to get their stuff up to good standard, I think that'd be good, because if we're telling people to do it, we should be helping them do it. But besides the people who are missing, I think we've been here too long.
Okay, go. Do a lap.
You need a stick. It's the big one on
But no,
a
I mean,
stick.
it's good intent.
Oh.
Is that it?
And it's the same thing, like, my house number's black and I need to see if I can see it at night.
I'll do it next time.
It's probably a good thing to look
Well,
at.
I'd recommend everybody go look at the front of their house and see if you can see the house number at night, because there are a bunch of houses that it's not easy to see.
But that's also like reminding the public, you should be doing this for your own safety, because you never know when you're gonna need emergency services or someone's trying to find you.
Yeah.
You should be able to see that, you know? But again, that forcing people to do certain things, like, if I had it my way, everybody would have their outside lights on. So you can see all the way up and down and around the streets.
Yeah,
But
I
you
agree
can't
with that
force
too,
that,
because we don't have
you
enough
know?
we don't have near enough streetlights, I don't
Right.
think, on our streets, so I
Oh,
agree.
man, I love it dark.
Well,
That's all I have tonight, so I won't
Okay.
prolong the meeting. So.
Any other new business?
I had a question along lines of that with ordinance. What process could we take if we'd like to look at, say, the top 5 or top 10 most common offenses, whether they be seasonal or the most we get? And can we find a system that in one area, here's your first offense, oops, but repeat offenders, create another? And definitely look at increasing the fines for some of the offenses that are out there, because some of them, as you read, they're not, I mean, I think the numbers could change in some areas.
I mean, yeah, like the first offense is more of an educational, like, hey, here's
Yeah,
the
you get
code.
sick, hospital, vacation, everyone knows that. Then there's the ones that you just go, come on, you only charging me $20, I'll make you wait 6 months too. You know, what's $20? I mean, I think there's just some ones that aren't curbing some behaviors or changing anything about whatever that offense is. And if the department could help us maybe pinpoint some more common ones.
Yeah.
Because whatever's currently going on is not changing it.
Did you say
It's not
top
going
10?
down. We can do top 5.
Top 5?
They might have top 10. I'd
They-
like to see what their import is, because they deal with it more.
I know Ann keeps a spreadsheet. It would probably be fairly easy to sort it,
Should be, right?
and bring that information back
But
to
what is-
this committee with what those fine structures are.
Yeah, one thing I was trying to look at is something like, let's say a typical $25 fine. And let's, forget the offense, but it almost looks like it costs $150 to give a $25 fine, and that doesn't make any sense.
Well, there's a line, and that's
not
purely up to
cost-effective.
council's discretion. Fees have been looked at in my tenure as mayor at least 3 times now, so
Mhm.
they're periodically reviewed. But at the same time, there's a line between trying to get compliance and trying to generate revenue. And our fines have never been about generating revenue. They're really about
No, that's not
trying
what I'm looking to
to
do.
bring compliance.
Yeah,
Yes, I understand that.
yeah.
But as you raise those fines, the general public will see it, well, you're just trying to generate revenue versus create compliance. So, that's something to consider when you're thinking about what the fines should be.
I would just simply say, well, it's right here. Here's a copy of why you got it. That's all. That's the only reason you got it. Not because we need money or any other thing. But I think also when you see where the challenges, I'm sure Ann could attest to it. She's chasing down 400 yards with grass and a measuring stick.
Sure, so,
That's
and
Yeah.
there's
You
a
know,
process, there's a dunning process.
There's at least
if you will.
200 homes with much more worse things
Yeah.
going on.
And what I've always told people is just because their grass is longer than it should be, doesn't mean we haven't already started the process to code enforce. But there's a process, you notify them, then they have to have a period of time to be able to correct the issue. Grass is a really tough one because we could send an abate nuisance notice. They cut the grass 3 days later or even 7 days later to be within compliance of the abatement notice. But then a week later, they don't cut it. Well, they already took care of the problem. This is a new problem. But to the residents who are nearby will go, well, they never do anything for them. Well, we did send an abate nuisance notice. They cut their grass. They have complied. Now it's 3 weeks later, they're not complying again. That's a new violation, which requires a new abate nuisance
But-
notice.
But it's usually the
But I
same price.
think
is what I'm getting at.
other municipalities have addressed, maybe not with grass cutting, but have addressed that with somebody is cited for a violation, and then they come into compliance. If they're cited again for the same violation within the next 12 months, it's a continuation. Then they're fined. And it doesn't start the clock over.
Yeah, you don't get that first price
Yeah.
all over again.
Yeah,
It's,
it's,
Violation.
if it's the same
Yeah.
violation.
I
So,
don't believe our code is written that way.
right, it's not.
And
So I was curious to see if we
So that would be
could.
Yeah.
something that you guys could
Yeah.
consider updating the code to give our employees the ability, because right now.
Yeah.
It's a new violation, it starts to process over again, so they're
Right.
following code.
Yeah, they are. No, and maybe I missed it too, but when I'm reading through certain things too, when you get to something like, you could get a fine between 50 and 200, as an example, nothing shows me what gets you in between 50 and 200. Is that
Oh, right.
somebody's
It's
opinion?
discretion.
Discretion? How do you get a 75 out of a 50? How do you get a 200? Is it, I turn the hose on you and I get $200 fine? Or, I don't know. I mean, just something like that should be a little more clear too.
Yeah.
As, discretion, I get it, but
So the top 5, what kind of timeline, like within the past 3 years?
let's put it this way, like when you guys read your printouts of what's been out as warnings, what's been cited, it's kind of common what they are.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I'd
it's
say
the
3 years is probably good,
Yeah, it's the simple ones, but if they've got something, they say, yeah, no, we do a lot of time on this.
Yeah.
And we just spin our wheels, that what I would think is
Well,
where
and
we
part of
go.
it's seasonal, so I can tell you, March, April, it's Christmas lights,
Right, and there was a lot of those.
right? Every March, every April, Christmas lights.
Yeah.
It's, dozens and dozens. In June, July, August, it's grass.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, end of
Sprinkled
May.
yeah,
Before
probably
milk days.
Yeah, probably May,
yeah. There's-
June, July, summer, warm weather months.
Yeah,
Trash cans are another one. People leave trash cans out constantly, and they don't think, that it's a problem, and they generally don't care. So, and because that's an occurrence happens once every week, you get re-violations constantly from that, because
Vehicles?
yes, well, inoperable vehicles, I don't think that would crack top 5 in my
No,
guess.
But we do get repeat offenders.
Yeah.
Oh, repeat offenders, certainly.
and that's kind of, I
But-
think is what's wasting some time, is the ones that are playing along. Because it just says you can. I mean, I would just like to be able to see that they could get more time
Yeah.
available for other things, or things that may
Right.
take more time to address.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's still.
And not look like heavy-handed or bullies, it just seems that, you're right, how many lots do we have in town? it's all about grass, I mean, we might as well
Yeah.
say forget the rest of the ordinances. Or forget about
So-
grass and then go into the other
Or,
stuff.
other ones are
As an
like
example.
parking in the grass, or parking
Yeah.
over the sidewalk,
Yeah.
or, those are some big ones, I think.
It depends on what neighbor.
The
you
sidewalk I
install.
thought was really good last year when everyone, whether you're for or against.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do it this year again to explain that it's just, state law and all this other stuff, but when we back off of certain things, people take that as you're not gonna do that anymore. And we saw last year how quickly that turned around, and I don't think they had to do much more enforcement, or very little. Most people said, don't do it, and they see it, they're serious this time. A few
Yeah,
people in my neighborhood said
Parking
they've
is,
never done
is
it.
what I tend to call a whack-a-mole issue, because you whack the mole goes away, it's done for a while, then they pop back up, and it's a constant thing. The same with, grass cutting, there's a lot of those kind of similar ordinances that, to a lot of the public, they consider them a nuisance ordinance versus it being a nuisance that you're getting fined for. So,
One of the sad ones is that, like, same thing, if it's now not keeping up, the money. I mean, I'm just putting myself back 20, 30 years if I'm having a good night, and I know that's a $20 or $15 ticket, I'm probably gonna continue with my good night and go pay it tomorrow. I don't care.
very similar to when,
But if it's $100, I'm going, wait, give me a hand, I gotta move this, something.
very similar to when, the Cubs won the World Series, or, the Stanley Cup for the Blackhawks, and everybody parked everywhere. They didn't care. How much is the ticket? $25? It's
Right.
cheaper to me to pay the ticket and just park here. Are you gonna tow me? No, we're not gonna tow you, we're just gonna ticket you. Give me the ticket, I'll pay it when I get back. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
exactly, like, we gave out, 150 tickets or something. People didn't care because it was cheaper to pay a $25 ticket than to park downtown.
Right.
So it was a win-win for them.
We could've
So
won
I
more.
understand what you're stating.
We could've won
that
more, yeah.
The value isn't enough to curb the behavior you're trying to curb.
Right.
That's, at your discretion to change those fines as you think is applicable.
Well, and I have their input also as what is I don't know what the
Right.
most common
Sure.
is. I mean, I'd like to know their opinion.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
And I think if I hear you correctly, your thought process is if we do this for repeat offenses, they may no longer be repeaters, and it will free up staff to concentrate.
just
on
because I've
the-
seen the behaviors appears to work for most. And I think if we did a little and explain it, no, we're not coming after your wallet, and no, we got nothing better to do. It's just.
Yeah.
It takes a little ownership in what we're doing.
Yeah. So does
Be a
that
little-
seem reasonable to have some info for July?
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah, just to get their opinion. I'm not ordering it, I'm just asking, is
Yeah.
this something we can,
With the
Yeah.
data, and I'll
if you all
get-
agree.
I'll talk to
The data
Clifton
and what the current
Yeah.
fees are for those offenses and.
Yeah, because then, maybe suggest to a few, if you haven't read through some of those ordinances, they can get a little creative, and you're like, interpretation seems to be a pretty big thing there. So if we get some clarity, it would be good.
Yeah.
Do you, by chance, know the communities that have with the repeat offenses within the time period?
I know Bull Valley does, yeah, but I can find,
I can
Others?
look. I'll
Oh,
look at,
okay. Yeah.
I'll check Bull Valley and then go from there.
okay.
Thank you.
John, any new business?
Whoa, John. You sure? What were you telling me outside? I thought it was a pretty good idea. Next time?
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
A second.
Okay, motion by Lavallee, second by Kriete, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 8:30 PM.
Joel, is there